Welcome back to Squawk Box. Let's head back to the World Economic Forum in Davos, Switzerland. Our Maria Bartiromo is joined there by two special guests this morning. Good morning, Maria.
Hi there, Carl. Thanks very much. I am indeed joined by Larry Summers, former Treasury Secretary, professor at Harvard University now, along with George Soros, founder of Soros Capital. Good to have you with us, gentlemen. Welcome. Let's talk a little about, obviously, the issues of the day, this market selling off, stimulus plan in the works. Larry, you came on CNBC a couple of weeks ago and talked about timely, temporary, targeted plan. What do you think about what's on the table right now in terms of fiscal stimulus?
I think we're off to a good start in the debate. I think the stimulus plan was in the right place a week ago, but the situation has clearly deteriorated in terms of expectations. And so what was right a week ago in terms of the scale, timely, targeted, temporary, may be insufficient now. So we've got to be thinking about what we're going to do. We're going to have to look at state and local governments, which I think are going to be very hard hit here. We're going to have to look at the size of those tax rebates. The dangers are much more on the side of doing too little than they are on the side of doing too much.
And you're saying because of the market disruptions that we've seen this week, obviously...
The market disruptions are themselves a problem, and they're a reflection of a growing perception of serious problems in the financial system. Everybody's groping around in the dark, trying to figure out whether their loans are safe or whether there's not, and somebody's got to turn the lights on. And that's a crucial thing that's got to happen here.
And of course, George, you made a prediction that we would see this kind of a dislocation in the markets in your last book. You wrote an op-ed today in the Financial Times talking about similar issues. Do you think that there's more upset to come in the financial markets?
Yes, the financial markets are upset. Right this minute, they are upset. And the authorities are not taking the right steps in dealing with it, because there is a very serious problem of counterparty risk. That's $45 trillion worth of credit default swaps. And some of the counterparties are not good for their commitments, and one doesn't know who they are. So the authorities ought to move in to the market makers, look at the books, and make sure that the bad risks are recognized, and reassure the market that the main actors, the banks that are too big to fail, will not fail. That they will, in fact, be bailed out the same way as Northern Rock was bailed out, even if that means wiping out the shareholders or greatly reducing their benefits. They need to do this, and they have to assure the market that they're going to do it, and that would give them the relief that we so badly need.
Wow, that bailout sounds aggressive. Do you agree with that, Larry?
I think we need to get some greater clarity as to what assets are marked at. The same asset is marked at very different prices in different places, in different U.S. banks, different U.S. banks versus different U.S. brokers, at different hedge funds. In Europe, where the marks are probably quite different, we do have to get greater transparency into this situation, but it's a very delicate balance, because we've got to get greater transparency without inducing a panic by forcing everybody to liquidate everything and getting transparency only at fire sale prices. But there's more that needs to be done in that area, yes.
So what do you do as an investor then, George? I mean, here we are looking at really the ramifications happening globally.
Well, it's very, very hard to maneuver in this situation. I do take a dim view of the current situation, and that's reflected in my posture.
When you said, Larry, that you need a more aggressive stimulus out there, what does that mean? In other words, higher numbers? In other words, more tax rebates? What specifically are you looking for?
I think it means we've got to at least be prepared to consider larger than the 1% of GNP figure that we see. I don't think I'd commit to that right now, but that's got to be something people are planning for, because this is a rapidly moving kind of situation. I think we also are going to have to look back at the housing market, where what's been done so far to prevent foreclosures is, I suspect, insufficient.
I agree with that. I think that some measures have to be taken there, and they will be taken. But I think we really have to reconsider the whole policy, which has been, in my opinion, misplaced, of relying on the markets to police themselves, to recognize the risks. And that is, there are systemic risks, which it is the job of the authorities to control. And the authorities have abdicated their responsibility, so did the rating agencies. And I think that this headlong creation of synthetic new instruments was based on a false conception of what markets can and cannot do.
We'll leave it there. George Soros, Larry Summers, thanks so much for joining us. I'll send it back to you, Carl. Thanks.
All right, Maria, thank you very much for that. Maria Bartiromo reporting from Davos, Switzerland.